Okay, so hey everybody. Gonna do a little grooming video here with our baby Hiccup. Uh, we do this on a weekly basis, and you can see that Hiccup is here on our grooming table. Just a couple of things so you guys can see this. You might think that this is tight and choking him. He can literally lift his head at any time, and the lead is loose. So that's the tightness of it is completely up to him. And you can see here I can actually put my finger through the top of the lead between his neck and the bottom. So he's got plenty of room here if he wants it. They tend to pull against it a little bit. All right. You can see he's obviously very happy. He's getting some attention. All right. So let's groom our boy here, and we'll kind of walk through. Hopefully I can show you guys all the stuff that I do on a weekly basis. And this is just kind of this is a pet groom, maybe a little bit more than a pet groom, but not much more. But just so that you guys can see what we do every day or every week to groom up our boy here. So first we always start off with a brush, and we just go through and we brush out everything. We'll brush his jacket, and we'll go through and we'll brush out all the hair on his ruff, this area up here. Now this will get longer as he gets older. He's a baby right now, 5 months old. So we'll, but we always just kind of just brush that out. And then we'll go through and we'll brush down his coat. This is his jacket up here on the top. We'll get that all brushed out. And usually this is not that difficult to brush. It's supposed to be kind of harsh feeling, and it doesn't really get tangled or anything up here on the top. That really happens down around the furnishings. Okay, we'll brush the furnishings on his legs. Okay, and brush this out, and we'll check his armpits and make sure he doesn't have any mats or anything up in the armpits. We'll brush those if he does. If we brush on a weekly basis, we really shouldn't develop any mats that are not brushable. All right. And then we'll turn him to the side, and we'll brush his furnishings down his side. Okay, and you can see he's starting to grow some furnishings out here. All right, and we'll get this all brushed out, and we'll brush his furnishings on the sides of his legs, which he's been out playing in the mud. We had some rain here. I know. So we'll get this all brushed out. Yes, I know. And we'll get over here and we'll brush his butt. Okay, and then we'll turn him on this side and we'll kind of do the same thing. Get all of the hair brushed out down the sides. Now, I always go over it with a brush first, and when the brush passes easily, I will then set the brush aside and come back with a comb. Now, just so you can see, this is a pin brush. This is a number 20 Christensen brush, which is kind of expensive probably for most people, but it's just a metal pin brush. You always want to find tools where the pins, like if you look closely at these pins, you'll see they've got rounded ends on them. They're easy to go over. I can do this down my arm, fairly harsh, and it just feels like a good back scratcher. It doesn't, do anything. Kind of the same thing with any comb that you find. I like a metal comb. Okay, I like a metal comb that has the finer teeth on one side and the looser teeth on the other, and the edges are rounded. So this is also, again, I can do that on my arm and not scratch myself. Okay, it just feels like I'm exfoliating, if you will. So that's your brush and your comb tools. So good boy. Yes, you'll be a good boy. So I'll go through here with the comb and kind of just brush through all the or comb through all the areas that I brushed. And sometimes I'll catch some little things that I didn't catch with the brush. Like here I'm doing his top knot. And yes, I know, buddy. Good boy. And get it all nice and brushed out. We'll go through. You'll see we'll get a little bit of hair, but not a lot. Okay, we'll go down and we'll do the legs and do the furnishings. And we'll do his armpit. We'll get all of his furnishings down here. Okay. We'll come over and we'll do the same side, same thing on this side. Now my grooming table is kind of neat because it's on a turntable, so it makes it easy to turn him around so I can get to what I need to. Be careful, buddy. All right. And we'll come down here. And he's a very good boy. He's very tolerant. Most of them are, if this is done on a regular basis. They get pretty intolerant if it's not done on a regular basis. So the more you do this, the more tolerant of it they are. Good boy. Oh, got to do the other side. I'm just going to comb through and get any and all mats out. We just want to make sure that we've got the hair all brushed and combed. Pretty easy. We'll go down his tail here. All right. So now, this is the part that I'm going to call optional, and you'll get to see me do it. It does take a little bit of time. This is a long video, or will be a long video by the time that we're all done with it. Okay. But you will see the full grooming process. Okay. Now, what I like to do for my stripping of the coat is I like to use a latex glove. I use it because it gives me a good grip on the hair. Some people use latex finger cots, which basically the same thing except just the fingertips. And it gives you a good grip. Hi, buddy. Yes, I know. I know. Yes, good boy. All right. So we're gonna turn him around here, and I typically face him away. They don't like not looking at you. Okay. But I will start working from the back end, and I work my way up to the front. You can see he's got a pretty nice coat here. I don't know, let me get you up close here. You can see his coat. It's pretty nice. We can maintain that by doing what I'm going to do here, which is basically I'll start and I'll work up this side first. Okay. And if I was good at editing videos, I would like edit this and you know, not make you watch the whole thing, but bottom line is that I pull up the hair kind of in a little mohawk, you can see here between my fingers, and then I'll go through and I'll pull the longer hairs out right at the tip. Okay, and then I'll move up a little bit and do the same thing and just work my way up from the back to the front. And this is what we call hand stripping. Okay, and I'm just pulling out the longest hairs. I'm really not pulling out anything that is shorter than, I don't know, about 1.5 to 2 inches. I'm leaving anything shorter than that. We just want to take out the long stuff, and by taking out the long stuff every week, it allows new stuff to start growing in, and he'll have nice layered texturing in his coat. Now, I will say there are areas of their jacket where they are a little more sensitive, and down the sides they are more sensitive. I mean, you know, think about somebody pulling out hair on your belly. You might find that to be a little uncomfortable. Kind of the same thing with them. But you can see he has gotten fairly used to this. He's just like, okay, do what you got to do. And I'm just moving up the side, pulling out the longer hair. And I do move fairly fast. Some people move faster than me, but I used to move a lot slower. This takes practice. But the more you do it, the faster you get. Yes, I know. That's not super comfortable, is it? No, but it's not too bad either. There you go. And you just move up all the way up the side. And we just kind of follow a line along all the way up. Now we're going to go over his shoulder. And we'll continue on up. And start to work up towards his neck. And do the side of his neck. And keep on coming up here. What I need to days I'll do this video on an adult, and you can see the adult coat as well, but it's really the same. Okay, we'll come all the way up the back of his neck right till we get behind the back of his ears. You can see we didn't take out hardly anything, but we did take out a little bit. So that was a stripe that went along the side of the body here, right here. I'm going to come up and do another stripe a little higher up, but not right in the middle, just a little higher up. Okay, and we'll do the exact same thing. We'll just come along and pull out any of the longest hair. Good boy. Good boy. Now, this is not really that much different than what I would do if I were showing. We do this part, the jacket should get done if you're showing on probably a weekly basis. If you're not showing, you could probably do this every 2 weeks and really keep the jacket still in good shape. If you don't do this, then, and you're not, and you're, you know, you have a pet. I know people who clip, and that's fine, you know, on their pets, but if you really want to keep the coat in the best shape, then stripping like this is what does that. I'm nobody. Yep. And we're just moving right up. The biggest problem with this for a puppy this age is that they get bored. So, but that is again just something that over time they learn to get better and they get more tolerant of being bored. And they think it's a good sacrifice for just spending the time with you. Good boy. And you're basically, I mean, if you know, think about this like you're, you know, if you were using, you know, you're cutting the hair, you know, and giving them a haircut, same thing, except that instead of cutting the hair, you're just pulling out the longest hairs to get an even line. And of course, you know, the more even you want the coat to be, I mean, you could subdivide it into more stripes going up, or you know, you could do it, pull up smaller sections of hair. Good boy. Doing very good. And this is kind of the same thing. We're getting up to the point where we're working our way over the shoulder. And of course, the more often we do this, the more tolerant of it they are. He's doing great. I mean, at 5 months old, he is a very patient puppy. Silly. Okay, so now we've done a stripe down his side from right here. Well, I'll show you with my hands. Kind of a stripe that ran along this area right here. Okay, and then we did another stripe that overlapped that one, kind of going down this way. And then we want to do the same thing on the other side. I will, well, we're going to go ahead and do the whole video here, so we're going to do that. It'll take a little time. Bear with me. If you want to fast forward till you see me start working on the middle, that'd be perfectly adequate. But I'm basically doing the exact same thing down the left side now that we just did up his right side, same thing. We're doing a stripe along the side here. Good boy. And then we're going to do a stripe a little higher. And then after we've done that on both sides, we're going to do a stripe right up the middle. And that will really complete the grooming of the jacket. I know. I know. Apparently he's a little more sensitive on this side than he was on the other side. Now, one thing, when you're pulling the hair, you do want to pull the hair in the direction that the hair grows. You don't pull against it. Like, I'm not pulling like this. All his hair grows this direction. So I'm pulling it back like this. Okay. We're coming up over his shoulder now. Good boy. Yeah, you can chew on my finger a little bit if you want to. I totally get it. Now, one thing I will say, and you know, puppies that go home at 12 weeks don't get the advantage of this, which is, I think that, you know, if you are going to groom them, getting them used to being groomed at a young age is important. And this is something that the more you can do this, you know, when they're young, the better off. Yeah, I know, aren't you a silly boy? Okay, so that was one more stripe. We got two more to go. So we're going to do one a little higher up towards the spine, but not over the middle yet. Good boy. And yep, I'm just pulling the hair out. I grab it and I pull. And you can see it obviously doesn't hurt. Sometimes it's a little sensitive, but it doesn't hurt. Not causing him any great amount of stress or distress. He will get bored. Some puppies will even fall asleep while you're doing this. Some people like to do this part while the puppy's just sitting in their lap on the couch, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've never found that I want that much hair on my couch, but, you know, each their own. Yes, I know, buddy. Come here. And I will tell you, I find it harder to do the left side of the dog than the right side. It takes me a little bit more time because I'm right-handed, and it is obviously easier to work over here. So if you get to that point, what I will do sometimes is I will get where I can, and then I'll turn them around and work from this side down. Yes, I know. It's a little bit challenging though, because he wants to play when you turn him around and face him this direction. Yes, I know. You want to chew my thumb? Hmm? You want to chew my thumb? Silly boy. Come here. All right, we're going to have to do it the other way because you won't hold still. So we're going to do it this way. Stand still. Good boy. Good boy. Now we're going to come up the neck. Good boy. And you'll be able to do a better job the older he gets and the more tolerant of it they get. So now we're going to do one more stripe right up the back, which will kind of join up the two stripes I've done on either side. This is just a pattern that works in my head. If you have another pattern to get everything, then do what works for you. Stop. Now I will also say that at 5 months of age, Hiccup here is an exceptionally tolerant puppy. If you've got a puppy who's a little less tolerant to this and need to build up tolerance, do shorter sessions. He's great though. Good boy. Now if you do shorter sessions and make them a little bit longer every time, build up their tolerance, nothing wrong with doing that. And you can see I am pulling out hair every time. It's not a lot, but I am pulling out hair. I'm not just going through the motions for the camera here. Good boy. Now I also recommend that if you feel like your puppy needs a bath, do this before you give them a bath, because the hair is much easier to grip when there's maybe a little dust and dirt in it. And then you can wait a day and give them a bath after you've done the stripping. Good idea to wait a little bit of time, but honestly, if you're just rinse them, you can just rinse them. Good boy. I find the hardest part of this to be really on my back, because the further away I have to work with them, the more I have to lean over, and it starts to hurt my back a little bit. But some people find it more challenging on their hands. And again, this is the recommended grooming, but this is too much for some people, and that is totally understandable. So alright, we are now done with stripping the jacket. Good boy. Good boy. Yes, that was very good. Very good. Alright, so let's look at his face now. And let's see what we got to do with his face. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here, yeah, I know, is I'll bring his hair down right here. And along just the bottom of his jawline, I will just grab any little pieces of hair that are sticking out too far. I'll go ahead and take those off, just like that. And then I'll also I'll brush the hair forward, like so, and I will grab anything that kind of sticks out. Now, keep in mind, I am doing this with hair. There are whiskers up here too, and those whiskers are very sensitive. Do not pull on those whiskers like this. If you want to trim the whiskers, do that with a little pair of scissors. Okay? And you should notice the difference between the hair and the whiskers. Okay? Oh, I know, buddy. I know. Let me see this side. Can I see this side, please? Thank you. Oh, good boy. Good boy. You can see I'm just going to grab the very fringe. Oh, no, we're not going to do that today. Come here. Let me see. Stop. 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 Good boy. We're going to grab right here, and I'm just going to take the very fringe hair off, like so, right here along the jawline. Don't take very much. And if you do it every week, you don't have to take very much. I know. Come here. Oh, oh, oh. Okay. Stop. There. Okay. Now, they will also have hair between their eyes. Okay. And he doesn't have very much because I do this every week. But right here, stop. Yes, I know you just want to play. Come here. Okay, stop. So right here between his eyes, you'll see little hairs that come up, and I will just grab those like so and just pull them off, and you can see how much it bugs him. Easy peasy. All right. Now, as far as the top knot goes, you give me a hug on my hand. Are we going to chew on me? Arr, 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 chew on my hand. Arr, arr, arr. Okay, that's enough. Stop. Now we're going to bring all this hair forward, okay? And I'm going to kind of look here at anything that is hanging down. See anything that's long here, and I'll just take it off. Stop. Stop. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, are you going to act up now? So anyway, we'll just grab it like so. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll go over to the side. Anything that's sticking out over here, I'll just grab and pull. And then we'll take it over here to this side. And anything that's sticking out, we'll just grab and pull. And then I'll take anything off that's around the back of the top knot at the top of the neck. And I don't take much, just a little bit. You can see up close and personal. Not a lot. Yes, I know. Yes, and you see his tail still wagging. He's still a happy boy. All right. Now we're going to work on ears now. Okay, you can see his ears have got some fluff around the edges of them. We're just going to go around, and I basically just pinch the fluff and pull it off. And this just gives me a much tighter border to the ear. You can see he's starting to get bored now. It's like, okay, can we do something else? But that is really all that's needed. And I do that about once a week. So that was one ear. Now we got to do the other ear. Good boy. Take a little more up here. Good boy. Good boy. Are you silly boy? Are you a silly boy? Hmm? Yeah, very silly boy. Okay. Now, so that's the head. One more thing we want to do on the head, and that is take the hair off the sides of the face. Okay, you can see right here, this area on the side of his face. I want to take that off. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this, and this is a carding knife. Okay. This is a right-handed carving knife, okay, or carding, not carving, carding, which basically means that these teeth will grab the hair and pull it up. And what I do here is I just take this, and you take the hair and you kind of pinch it between the knife and you pull the hair off the side of the face. And they call this flat work because the side of the face, the hair should be fairly flat. And if you draw a line between the corner of his eye and the corner of his mouth, that's kind of the area back to the base of the ear that you want to do this in. Good boy. And then we'll do this side. Good boy. And this is again pulling the hair. It's not cutting the hair. You can see it doesn't cut it. It pulls it. So that's why the hair is caught up here. Okay? Yes. Oh, you have fluff all over your face now. You have fluff all over you. Yes, you do. Okay, so now we have done the jacket. We have done the head and the ears. Okay? Now we need to do the tail. Now his tail's pretty good. Okay? But I will show you that I do the tail. I use some thinning shears for the tail. Okay. You know, whatever your favorite thinning shears are. And the way that I do the tail is I tend to work from the base to the tip. And what I'll do is I'll pull the hair out like that. And I don't know if you can zoom in at all, but I'll bring the camera a little closer. So I'll bring the hair in like that. And then anything that is more than about a thumb's length, I'll take off and just even it up. And then I work my way up the tail, doing the same thing. Nope. Good boy. And I do this down, right now I'm doing it on the right side of the tail. You can see I'm not taking off hardly anything because we do this pretty regularly. Good boy. Now some people try and strip the tail. The tail is very sensitive in my experience, and I don't see any reason to do that. Now the tip of the tail, which is a little hard to see here, but you can see the hair is sticking out over the tip. I'm holding the tip of the tail. So I will round this off just to make it look a little bit more like a nub. Okay, and then, so I did the right side. We're going to do the exact same thing on the left side of the tail now. Working from the base. pull the hair out, kind of a little mohawk on the side of the tail, and anything that's more than, I'd say, an inch, I cut off. And that will leave him having a tail that looks like it's got some substance, which is good, and still has hair on it, but we'll also keep it from looking shaggy. Okay, and then we do the exact same thing on the back side of the tail. Okay, and we just, yeah, stand up. No, you gotta stand up. Gotta stand up for this part. Thank you. Good boy. All right, now once we've done all that, the front side shouldn't have that much actually that's long, but if you do feel like you've got some bumps on the front side of the tail, which would be the top of the tail, I guess, you can do the same thing. Let me back you back up here so you can see a little better. All right, so exact same thing, just pulling the hair up, making a little mohawk on the top of the tail. And anything that's longer than about an inch, we just cut that down. Good boy. All right, so that's the tail. Easy peasy. All right, so now we got to do the butt. So we're going to do the butt. All right, we're going to brush all the hair down here on the butt. Now on the butt, and I don't know if you can, how well you can see it, but on the butt they have these little swirls. There's a little swirl right there and a little swirl right there, and they've all got a little swirl in their butt. Okay, so if we just brush the hair out and away from the little swirls, you'll see that they get a little hair line right there and a little hairline right there, and then there's a hair down the sides of the tail. Okay, we want to go ahead and trim up the hair on the sides of the tail. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Nope. Nope. Good puppy. Good boy. Okay, and then that hair where the swirls are, if you can't see the swirls, it's because this little hair ridge right here and this little hair ridge right here need to be trimmed. So we're just going to trim that up just a little bit. We don't want to get too aggressive with it. Just take off a little bit at a time until you can see the swirls a little bit better. And that's it. You're done. Swirl, swirl. So he's all done. Alexa, stop. Okay, so that's the butt. Pretty straightforward. Okay. Now for the feet. I'm going to tilt you down just a little bit so you can see the feet a little better. Okay. Now, we basically, on the back feet, we don't touch anything above what we would consider the heel on a human. Okay. So you've got his toes down here, you've got the back of his foot, and then the heel. Okay. His knee is up here. All right. And we're going to, oh, come here, buddy. There you go. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring this up. Okay. I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did on the tail, actually. So we're going to bring this up into kind of a little mohawk, and we're going to brush it out and make sure that it is good. Okay. And anything longer than about an inch, I'm just going to take off. Now you can see there's hardly anything longer than an inch here because he's had this done recently. I did that on the back of the foot. Now we're going to do it on the side of the foot. Same thing. So now we're going to do it on the front of the foot. Being very careful, we don't want to catch him. Good boy. And then this I find a little awkward, but we're going to do it on the inside of the foot here. Okay, so you put him in the leg lifting position and we trim it like so. Okay, and the foot should look like that. All right, now while you're here, this is always a good opportunity to stick your fingers up in the pads of the foot and make sure that there's nothing up in there, because they will step on gum or poo or a rock or whatever, and it'll get stuck up in there and they'll be very unhappy, but they won't tell you about it at all. And his are very nice and clean, so there's nothing there to really be concerned with. And so with that said, the last thing I would do on the foot, get yourself a little beard trimmer. Doesn't have to be like this one. I got this one off of Amazon. It was on a sale. But a little beard trimmer I found to be very helpful. This one's actually nice. It's kind of a USB rechargeable thing. I can send, I think I got this on Amazon. I can send links. It wasn't very expensive, but it looks fancier than it is. But come down here and use this to kind of clean up the pads. And you just work around the pads and get any hair that is in there. This will keep mats from developing, that kind of thing, if you just keep the hair out from inside of the pads. And you can see how tough that was and how hard it was. Okay, so that is one foot. Let's do another foot. Yeah, let's do another foot. Okay. So we're going to bring that up and just even this up. Very good. And we'll do the inside. Do the leg lift position here. We'll do the inside and even this up. Okay. And then we'll do the outside of the foot. And then we'll do the front of the foot. Bring up a little mohawk there. All right. And now his feet are done, or his back feet are done. We got to do front feet still. Okay, so front feet. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Yeah, front feet should be the end of it. Okay, and we'll be all done with his grooming. Oh, well, no, there's one other thing we have to do. There's always one other thing. So anyway, on the front feet, kind of the same thing here, okay? Except that we like to use the carding knife or a stripping knife on the front feet instead of cutting it. Okay, well, he's got a little mat right here. I'm going to go ahead and get that out. And isn't it funny how you can do all this work and not find a mat till almost the end? There's a little mat. So just take that right out. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to kind of come down the front and grab any hairs that stick out. Okay. And then I'll do the same thing down the side from the shoulder. Okay, on the outside of the leg. Yes. And this is typically kind of sensitive. They don't like this very much most of the time. But it only takes a second. And the more often you do it, the more tolerant they are of it. Good boy. Stop. Okay. And then we'll do the other side. We'll come down from the elbow, which is here, and work our way down. And we'll just take off anything that's here. Okay, good boy. Now, we'll also come in here. I'm just going to take off anything that's here in the front. Okay, you gotta let me see it. Stop. Now, do be careful when you're in this area, because the dew claws are here. Stop. And they have a little pad on the back of their leg that is like their thumb. It's right up in here. You don't want to cut that. Okay, so avoid the dew claw and avoid their little thumb. Okay. Good boy. Okay, so now I will, on the back of their foot, below that pad, we want that hair to be relatively short, so I will bring that out. And I use a little pair of scissors like this. This is not fancy, but it's handy for me to get to where I need to get to. Good boy. All right, and so we're gonna come over here and we're gonna do this little area right here. Okay, and you can see I've got my finger on that little pad so I can see any hair, but we're just taking off any of the hair on the back of the foot. Yes, I see you, buddy. You're being very good. Yes, you are. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Just take off the hair. Okay. Good boy. All right, now, promise, last but not least. Now we go around and we kind of check out the furnishings, and we make sure that the furnishings are not scraggly. Now, as they get older, this beard up here will get longer and fuller. So when they're this young, I don't recommend that you do a whole lot of this, but you can come along and anything that's particularly straggly, you can just grab and pull out. Okay. Now the furnishings on the back of his front legs are pretty full already. So we're going to go ahead and come down like this. And I'm going to say anything longer than about 2 inches, I'm going to just pull out. Yes, I know. I know. Just awful. Okay. Now, on his side, on the furnishings from down here on his belly and his chest, he's barely got any right now. So there's not much to do. But as this gets longer, you will want to kind of pull out any stragglers there too. And then the same thing on the furnishings on the back of his leg. Yes, you want the scissors so you can chew on them. I get it. I'm going to put them away. And so he's got some pretty good furnishings around his leg here, but they are starting to get a little straggly. So we're just going to take these stragglers off like this. Okay. And that'll help that be more full as he gets older. Okay, make sure you come around here. Can I get any stragglers? Now, if you want to, you can do a little hygiene cut on the hair on the end of his business down here. You can see he's got some hair down there, and I can come in here very carefully and give him a little hygiene cut. Stop. Okay, do that, and that's it. He's done. There's not really anything else here to do. I do need to do the other side. We did one side, I need to do the other side. So we're gonna get that. Very good, good boy. And we'll do his leg on this side too. Just see if there's anything straggly. We'll go ahead and get it. And now he's beautiful. Not that he wasn't beautiful before, but now he's beautiful and well groomed. So that's the video, and that took about 50 minutes with him. Probably would have taken less without the explanation, but you know, we did a full groom there. That's everything. The only thing left to do now would be if I need to bathe him, I give him a bath and blow dry him. But short of that, he's done. Appreciate your time.